But it's the beginning of one.
I want to move on to a different debate here, which is Hillary Rodham Clinton may be receiving a good assistance from President Obama. The president says he will campaign with her. He might endorse her as early as tomorrow. Pat Caddell, the aforementioned, is with me. So too is Sabrina Schaefer and Steve Murphy. Steve Murphy, to you first. You think that it would be good for Hillary to have President Obama campaigning with her? Make your case, please.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, he's an increasingly popular president. His approval rating is in the 50s right now. He's much stronger than either one of the candidates for president. So if the Republicans want to make the race about him, we certainly do welcome that. Secondly, he's going to help unify the Democratic Party. And third, it stands in stark contrast to the disunity in the on the Republican side, with the last two Republican presidents refusing to even endorse Donald Trump.
Sabrina, what do you say?
Well, I actually agree exactly. I think it's not surprising, considering how political this administration has been and how they've used their power to sort of squash their political enemies. So it's not surprising, although it is untraditional for a sitting president to go out on the campaign trail. But I think that's important to keep in mind is that when you look at people's views towards the policies and the politics of Washington, there is tremendous disapproval. And what the president does really well is campaign. He gives people hope.
Okay.
He does well out there.
Neither Steve nor Sabrina have mentioned the president's record on foreign policy and his record on the economy. So, Pat Caddell, I take it you do not think that the president will be an asset to Hillary on the campaign trail?
No, I think he's about to make a tragic mistake. Look, and I'm going to do this analytically. Historically, the two greatest factors in a race for president are first the economy and second the rating of the incumbent president. Steve's right to talk about the fact that the president's rating has gone up, and it's gone up because he's been above the fray. The Republicans haven't been pressing the Congress. All the attention has been on these intra-party fratricide going on for months, right? Well, here's what happens. He's going to walk in here. And remember that the polls, all the polls that have asked this question publicly, of whether they want a third Obama term, in other words, they want Hillary to continue his policy, do they want continued policies or change, are 20-some points for change. But he has to, let me tell you one other one, he has to defend. He has to then now defend what is a very unpopular ratings on foreign policy, the loss of jobs, all of that, and he is going to become more partisanized and drag his numbers down.
All right,
that's
Sabrina,
inevitable.
What do you say?
Well, look, I'm not sure it matters what people say. It's how they behave and how they are going to, act in the voting booth after they see the president. And one thing that the president does well, and I disagree with pretty much all of his policies, all of his economic policies and health care and labor regulations and foreign policy, but when he's out there, he gives people this sense of hope. He has that charisma that so many people are looking for. And at a time when we have an election that has just been dirty and angry and has brought out in many ways the worst in our political leaders,
okay, all right,
I think
Steve,
he could be very helpful to Democrats.
To you, does it look good for Hillary to rely on A, her husband on the campaign trail, and B, the current president on the campaign trail? Does it look good when she has to rely on these two presidents and former presidents?
I don't think it's fair to her to say she'd be relying on anybody else. She's relying first and foremost on herself, her own experience, and she'd be the most prepared president we've elected as Democrats in generations. Secondly, Barack Obama is going to help her coalesce the support of Bernie Sanders supporters. That's going to help in the polling. That's going to help define this election as one where she's dominant and where Trump is dragging himself down with what looks like just self-immolation.
Well, Bernie Sanders supporters and Hillary supporters are at each other's throats as we speak. I'm afraid I'm out of time, everybody. I wish I could continue this, but there was a good debate.